I really need to figure out a better place to start filming this. You're literally inside a cabinet right now. So this is my kitchen. And the top of the crock pot's not gonna work. This is probably too high. All right, this is probably as good as it's gonna get. So BTZ, what the heck is BTZ? I thought about making a video about it before, but I feel like, or at the time I felt like it probably wasn't A, going to happen to me, and B, something that people would actually want to care about. I know when I was getting ready for basic training, I cared more about the zero night videos and everything like that. So if you care more about seeing those, I'd skip this video, but just know that preparing for BTZ starts the second you set foot at Lackland, and is actually more beneficial than you might think it is. So I'll start off by explaining what BTZ is. So BTZ stands for Senior Airman Below-the-Zone. So Senior Airman is the 4th rank that you can have in the Air Force. So you're an Airman Basic when you get to basic training. They call those slick sleeves because you got no rank on. There's Airman, which is that 1 stripe. Airman First Class, which is 2 stripes. And then Senior Airman is 3 stripes. So it's E4. It's kind of weird if you haven't already memorized this. Your grade is the one that's a letter E and then a number. Your rank is the actual phrase for it. So a little rule of thumb, if you want to figure out what the grade is or what the rank is and kind of interchange them, someone says E4, just subtract 1, that's how many stripes you're going to see, 3. So an E9, subtract 1, it's got 8 stripes, it's a chief. So what exactly is BTZ? So I can make a whole video on exactly how promotion works, and I can do that for you if there's enough need. I don't know if there's already a video about it, but as far as when you get Airman versus Airman First Class, and of course it depends on your contract, whether you're 4-year, 6-year, how many credits you have. So in essence though, Senior Airman Below-the-Zone allows you to promote about 6 months early, sometimes a little bit more, into going from Airman First Class to Senior Airman. So now Senior Airman's the last rank that you'll get automatically without having to test or anything like that. After that, it's all testing from there on out. The beauty of BTZ is that it allows you, well, there's a lot of good things actually that come as a result of BTZ, but one of the biggest ones is that you can promote early, and then secondly, that you can test for staff possibly earlier, and I'll explain that. So in my case, for example, I came into basic training as an Airman First Class immediately because I had enough college credit. Don't quote me, I believe it was you needed 60 credits. I'm pretty sure, because I think it was 30 for Airman and 60 for A1C. I may be wrong. Somebody fact check me and call me out. So as a result, it's 28 months, time and grade, till you can put on Senior Airman. So 28 months for me, from the time I put on Airman First Class, would have been about December this year that I would have put on Senior Airman. So BTZ affords you the opportunity to be able to do that even earlier. So that's a little bit of a background of BTZ. So how do you prepare for it, and how does it actually come about? So it's actually really easy, more or less, to prepare for BTZ. First off, just don't get in trouble. Do all that you can to kind of avoid trouble. Obviously, you're going to hit snags along the way. Everybody does. You're going to miss an appointment every now and then, or be late every now and then. And I've made a video about how to stay out of trouble, but essentially just don't do anything stupid, and because that'll immediately disqualify you. I mean, things like LORs, you can't go up for BTZ. Secondly, try to get involved as much as you can. You're going to start building that, what's called an EPR, your enlisted performance report, the second you get into basic training. So if you're, let's say you're honor grad, for example, and you're in tech school if you're a rope or something like that, and then rolling into being stationed here, or your first base, doing all you can to just kind of get involved. Now, I'll tell you what I did. This is what worked for me, and I'll kind of intertwine that with what happened. So for me, I was a bed aligner in basic training. It's one of the most prestigious jobs you can have. I plan on using it in the civilian world. I didn't do anything during basic training besides keep my head down and get in and get out. Tech school, same deal. I just wanted to graduate and get back to my wife, so I did not volunteer whatsoever in tech school. So if you're watching this and you're already through tech school and you're like, dang, I didn't do a single thing in tech school, there's hope. Once I got to my first base, however, I wanted to hit the ground running. So I immediately got involved in something called Booster Club, which is kind of like class office. It's kind of how I see it from high school, where you're organizing fundraisers, you're planning events. It's a great way to get some face time with everybody and get to know more members of your squadron. Something else I did immediately was continue my degree. I had about 100 credits when I started in the Air Force, which is another story. So I immediately enrolled back into school and started taking classes online so when I come home from work, I just hop right on my computer and start doing classwork. From there, I also volunteered as much as I could in my community. Your church is huge. I became a Boy Scout leader, and that's another thing that helps. And what else? Oh, I started my pilot's license. I'm halfway through that. And there's a couple other things I did. And I tell you that not to boast about what I did, but these are some ways to get involved that I saw beneficial. Other ways from people that have won BTZ that I've talked to. Civil Air Patrol, if you've never heard about it, Google it. It's a great way to get involved in the community. And some other people would do organize fun runs or fundraisers. There's something called ACE, which you'll learn about. It's the Airmen Committed to Excellence. Every base has one, and squadrons typically do too. It's a group of airmen that your primary job is just make sure other airmen are chilling, everybody's comfortable and everything's good. So that's one way to get involved. And I can actually, you know what, I'm just gonna make a separate video on how to get involved because I could go on. So anyway, do as much as you can to have as much as you can ready for that EPR, which will be part of what you'll submit for your BTZ package, is what it's called. So you'll coordinate with your squadron after 28, well, subtract 6 months from 28, and then a couple more months. There's a conversion calculator that they'll use, but they'll start telling you, hey, by the way, you're coming up for BTZ if you'd like to go up. It's not mandatory, but it's one of those things that's like, you should probably go up anyway because you have nothing to lose. So in preparation, like I said, up to that point, just do as much as you can to stay out of trouble, get involved, and get to know everybody. From there, you will start doing what's called mock boards because BTZ is comprised of two parts. Your package, which is everything that you've done since you joined the Air Force, work-related, extracurricularly, self-development, things like that, and then also the board. And the board is, it's a little intimidating, at least for me, because I can't sit still, as you can probably tell. And I also like to just relax. I'm really bad at keeping a military bearing, especially talking in a military style, if that makes sense. It's one of the only times in your base, unless you're in trouble, that you're gonna have to do the like stone cold, back to BMT style way of carrying yourself. You wear your blues, and during the board, many things are gonna happen. And I guess I'll go into it a little bit. So leading up to your board, like I said, you'll do mock boards, practice boards with your local leadership within your flight. And you'll practice everything from the entry procedure to sitting. Again, I could do a video on exactly how those mock boards go if you would like. Again, I don't even know if this video, I tend to average like freaking like 30 or 40 views after 6 months, so we'll see. Anyway, from there on, once you're in there, they're gonna ask you some questions out of what's called the Professional Development Guide. In advance, they're gonna give you what chapters you should study. It's about 100, 150 pages of material, and they'll ask 3, 4, 5 questions from that. And there's a particular way you gotta answer, particular way you have to move. For example, you're sitting at attention, you can only move your head, you can't move your body. From there, after that, you will wait a couple weeks and you'll find out if you were selected. And by a miracle, I was completely shocked. So I'll actually sew on Senior Airman on May 5th, which is coming up about a month here. This kind of leaves a lot of open tangents that we can go on. If you'd like me to, just drop a comment. Let me know if you want me to talk more about how the actual board works or how to prepare for the board. Preparation is pretty simple. I kind of already explained it. Stay out of trouble, get involved, and then also study the PDG, the Professional Development Guide. But here's a funny thing. I only got 1/2 of all the questions right because I knew half of one of the answers. So it's not just about knowing the information, it's the reputation that's preceded you and then how well you're able to carry yourself throughout that, and your bearing and everything like that. And your uniform, like I said, they're inspecting your uniform and so on. So let me know if you have any questions. BTZ's, again, why do you want to win BTZ? It's a great way to set you apart. It also opens you up to say like more TDYs possibly and more opportunity. For me personally, I just wanted to see if I could do it. I didn't think in a million years I'd ever get it. So I did my best, and I'm very grateful that I tried because it ended up with a real great outcome. So thanks again for watching, and again, let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.